Well, greetings, everyone, and welcome to a new year. My name is Stephen Dinan. We are here with the Shift Network for a really special program that is particularly oriented to coaches and holistic practitioners, really anybody who's selling your services to other people for transformation, for personal growth. There's a core set of skills about how you share about what you do that make a world of difference in the results you get and the number of lives you can touch. And we're here with a remarkable teacher, an ally and friend of ours. Her name is Sharla Jacobs, and she's going to be helping us think about how do we create a unique what do you do statement that gets you clients. And that's really at the core of serving the larger world with your work and really experiencing a prosperous and successful practice yourself. So Sharla is somebody that long respected in the space. She's been on a few different shift programs before and has really decided to make this special offer of today's mini workshop as a way to reach more people, because the kind of people who are drawn to the Shift Network, you really have work that is needed for the healing and transformation of our world. And Sharla and her husband and business partner, Jesse, are really the premier coaches for people who are building a coaching practice, a holistic practitioner practice, really taking you from the just starting out to six-figure range. And over the last 14 years, the Thrive Academy that they've created, the members have collectively earned over $100 million. And I'd say they've probably groomed more of the transformational leaders out there than anybody else. They've really had a huge impact and really great hearts and great souls, and really deeply aligned with creating businesses that really have positive impact. So thanks so much for joining us here today, Sharla.
I am so honored to be here, Stephen. I love what you said about how important it is to get the work out here. The work that everybody here is doing as a coach or holistic practitioner. Like, this is the time, right? Your work is so important in today's world, and I love all of the other work that you are creating here at the Shift Network to help us all to increase our energy and increase our connection to spirit and the divine, and to really live from that place. And so, my intention is that what we're doing today is really an extension of that work, that you can reach more of your ideal clients and have them say yes. So I'm super honored to be here. Thanks so much for having me.
Beautiful. Well, I want to share right up front that we're going to have this time with Sharla, but we're also super excited that there's a new program that we're going to be able to share with you called the Client Attraction Code. We'll share a little bit about that towards the end of the hour. But Sharla, I want to first of all, honor you for the way in which you go about essentially, which is marketing work, but it's really about selling from the heart. It's about touching people with the deeper transformative value that you offer, being authentic, being real, being connective, respecting other people. There's a way in which you help to take subjects that often have some smarmy or connotations and make them really straight from the heart and effective. And I think that so many holistic practitioners and coaches often avoid some of these basic elements, like what do you do, because they don't want to come across as too marketing or salesy. And I think you've really done a masterful job at helping us see how to do that in a different way. So why don't we begin a little bit with your journey that brought you to do the work that you're doing here today?
Sure. I'm happy to share. And I will say this, that, there was a study done that actually reported that the coaching industry is the second most growing industry after technology. And you may not know that. And so there are new coaches and holistic practitioners flooding the market every day. But when we first started, it wasn't that way at all. And, I had a very different experience, because when I first started sharing about coaching and, being a coach and holistic practitioner, there weren't a lot of other people doing coaching, and people didn't know what it was. So today I live and work with my husband, Jesse Corn, who's also my business partner and love of my life. And a lot of people actually say that Jesse's coaching was an extraordinary turning point in their life, where things are really different after that moment. And we have two beautiful children, Jacob and Zachary. And one of the reasons that we do this work is that we really believe that when you're listening here as a coach or holistic practitioner, that when you attract more clients and you are are working with people more deeply. And that is whether you are doing the deep one-on-one intimate work, we call you a one-on-one connector, or you're doing work with groups. Maybe you're leading workshops, or maybe you want to write a book, or you want to do a home study course or high-end group programs. We call you a one-on-one, a transformational leader. Regardless of whether you do either of those, the work you're doing is transforming people's lives, and really believe that this work is one of the foundational things that has to happen to make this world a better place for our children and for their generation. So, and I grew up eating white bread, Captain Crunch, and Diet Coke, and I really paid the price for it with my health. At the age of 8, I started getting really bad headaches. I gained a bunch of weight at an early age, and I struggled with insecurity for years and years. And if it wasn't for the dozens of coaches and holistic practitioners that I worked with, I would probably be lying in bed riddled with extreme pain, and definitely not being able to have this beautiful impact that we've had to have in the world. So I'm not even sure if I'd be alive, honestly, with the road that I was heading down. So I really do believe that you hold the key to a more beautiful world. And it's one of the reasons why we're so proud that our Thrive Academy members have earned over $100 million collectively, as you shared earlier, Stephen, means that our members have supported hundreds of thousands of people to get through some of the struggles and suffering that I experience and that people experience every day. Now, when I graduated from acupuncture school, I got my master's in traditional Chinese medicine, and I got my coaching certification, I had no idea that it would be possible for me to be in a happy marriage with my 2 beautiful kids and making a difference on this scale. What I did know is that I had $80,000 in student loans weighing on my shoulders, and I needed to find a way to get clients because every month I was going deeper into debt. And I remember a moment where I was actually standing in the produce aisle at the health food store, and I was literally standing there with an organic avocado in one hand and a conventional avocado in the other hand. And the difference of $1 made me hem and haw for about 10 minutes. And as I stood there, I felt like this burning frustration and shame that I would feel when I was growing up. And my mom would say, "Oh, we can't afford this," or "We can't afford that." And I just thought, okay, am I going to have to put an end to this dream of, having my coaching practice and having this acupuncture practice that I wanted? And fortunately, I walked out of that grocery store and I bought the organic avocado. And I just really promised myself that there was got to be someone somewhere who could show me how I could talk about what I do, how I could share about the work, how people would be interested and attracted and drawn to me. So I made a no matter what decision. And I marched out of that store determined to find a mentor who could help me find enough clients to truly thrive. So soon after, I found a mentor, and he inspired me to believe that it was truly possible for me to triple my income in a 3-month program of working with him. That meant going from around $1,800 to around $5,000 a month. And, I live in the San Francisco Bay Area, so that was enough to get by. And he charged $600 a month at the time for his coaching program. And of course, I couldn't afford to work with him, but I knew I had to get resourceful so that I could find a way to get his support. So I decided to have a really conversation with Jesse. Now, Jesse was just my boyfriend at the time. This was way before we were married. And I got really vulnerable with him. And I asked him if he believed in me. Fortunately, he said yes. And I told him, I can't keep living this way. I can't keep going deeper into debt and barely making enough to get by. I need help. And I swallowed my fear, and I asked him if he would loan me the money so I could join this coaching program. Now, at the time, Jesse was working a low-paying 40-hour-a-week job that he hated, but he was trying to save up enough money to pay for coaching school. He wanted to take a coaching program like I did. And at the time, he believed that if you were just good enough at what you did, that people would come find you. And he hated the idea of paying to get support with client attraction because he thought we should be able to figure that on our own. But I told him that I was just going to keep spinning my wheels if I didn't get the support, and I just couldn't keep going like this. So he loaned me the money, and I felt this whole new level of confidence wash over me. Now, all that changed with my first session with this new mentor, because he told me that in order to guarantee I would triple my business, that I would have to have 100 sales conversations every week. So that meant talking to 100 different people every week. I mean, I could be repeating, following up with somebody, but inviting that many people to work with me or share about what I did. Now, I didn't even want to have one conversation. I wanted all my clients to just come to me from word of mouth, but I forced myself to go to networking events, and you have to realize this is before Facebook, right? This is like we hardly had cell phones at this time. But I forced myself to go to networking events. I faced my fear of feeling too young and too insecure and too new for anyone to take me seriously. And 2 months later, I had hundreds of conversations. Honestly, I had about 60 conversations a week. I really, really, really went for it. But I only had a few new clients to show for it. I still wasn't doing much better than around 2,000 a month. And I was frustrated beyond belief, as you can imagine, because especially when I shared what I did with people, they rarely got how valuable my work was, and they often didn't seem interested. Now, fortunately, that last month of this 3-month program, I had some big breakthroughs, or I might have to gone back to bartending. I had this divine download. I'm not going to get into it too much today, but I had this divine download about the system called the 5 elements of heart selling. It's one of the things that we're famous for. And I started to use it. I started to feel more confident sharing my rates. I learned how to turn I can't afford it into a yes. And basically, I learned to help my clients become more resourceful. And in that 3rd month, I earned over $5,400. And I was super elated because I was able to pay back Jesse, start paying off debt, but I still had to have a ton of conversations to get those clients. And I will tell you this, that it wasn't until I really learned how to share what I did more powerfully that it just made it so much easier. And I will say this, that if I had known how to talk about what I did a lot more powerfully, I would have had hardly any conversations. A lot of our clients only talking to 3 people a month and having $10,000 per month. And Jesse witnessed my journey. He saw how easy it could be for me to get high-paying clients. So he set a goal to get 8 clients to replace his income from his job. And when he got 5 clients in his first month following this system, he decided he would never, ever work for someone else again. And we joined forces. Shortly after we had our own private practices, and then I'll make a long story short. We joined forces into a new business, and we had $175,000 a year in our first year together. And basically, a lot of our clients were coaches and holistic practitioners. They asked us how we were able to make 6 figures in our first year. So we decided to create a live event that we now call the Client Attraction Summit, so we could teach them the most important skills that they needed to get clients. And they loved it so much. That was over 14 years ago. We've been blessed now to have over 9,000 people attend that event. And I will say that, I never thought Jesse and I would be acknowledged as the world's leading authorities in teaching coaches and holistic practitioners how to attract more clients. And, you said some very acknowledging things at the beginning of the call, Stephen. I feel super grateful. Thank you. But I really feel grateful I made that no matter what decision. And then just kept taking those steps that the universe kept putting in front of me. And I do have to say, by the way, I would never ask you to have 100 conversations in a week, never. So don't worry, because we have this thing in our company called the 10,000 hour month club, and it's for our clients that have had their first 10,000 hour month, and we have hundreds of members in this club, and really. And I interview them at least once a month. I get on the phone or I get in an interview. Sometimes I interview them on Facebook Live, and I want to know, okay, so we taught you all this stuff, but what did you actually use? What actually worked? And I do know for a fact that a lot of them are only having like 3 conversations a month and having 10,000 hour months left and right. The other thing I know is that there is this prevalent pattern I'm going to share with you toward the end of our call that I find that, no matter how different they are, these are all different kinds of people, that they have this one pattern in common. So I'll save that for the end of the call, but it's something that you're going to definitely want to cultivate in yourself.
Well, I love the way you shared about your story, and yeah, I mean, it really speaks to the anxiety people feel when they've got invested in really building a skill set, and then they're like, oh man, now I have to market this, and the brute force method of 100 sounds like that's overwhelming as well. So. Very intriguing to hear more about what is this secret sauce to. I mean, it's in some ways it kind of reminds me of like people say, oh, if you really want to become great at tennis, you got to just keep working the basics, right? So it's like the most basic element that we have to, that everything else gets built on. It's like the foundation of our building of how we position ourselves to attract clients. And so this, what do you do? What is the essence of why people, why aren't they doing it well? Why doesn't it work a lot of the time?
Well, let's start by the term elevator pitch, right? That there's all this language, this traditional sales language, prospect, overcoming objections, closing the sale, that are really disrespectful terms when we actually think of doing that to someone else. We don't want we don't want to be objectified like that. So we've got to first remove the language, right? So, I don't know about you, but the term elevator pitch never resonated with me. The definition of elevator pitch is a succinct and persuasive sales pitch. So succinct enough, you can get the whole thing out before the elevator hits the floor, right? And you got to step out. So whenever I feel like somebody's trying to pitch me, I notice that they kind of have this strained look in their eyes, like they're trying to, memorize this and trying to impress me. We like to just call it a "what do you do" statement because it's a much more natural term. It's an answer to the question, "What do you do?" And it, hopefully it feels more natural and your nervous system can settle in when you don't feel like you're trying to do a pitch. And one of the times is sometimes when they're so scripted, the "what do you do" statements, like the typical ones, and I'm going to give you a traditional "what do you do" template in a little bit. But there are so many coaches and holistic practitioners that do similar work to what you're doing. So everyone ends up sounding the same, and your potential clients don't even know who to trust or how to differentiate everybody. But when people share what they do without a template, just free form, then their "what do you do" statement tends to be boring, or they tend to ramble on and confuse people or overwhelm people. So we've created a number of different templates that each provide a powerful structure to share the unique greatness of your work. And when I get into the three most common "what do you do" mistakes, I'm also going to share some elements that make up these cutting edge new templates. I'm really excited to share that with you. But one thing I do want to acknowledge is how you talk about what you do. I deeply understand that this is something that's very personal. You may have already spent a lot of time and energy and thought thinking about how to talk about what you do. And it may even have a lot to do with your very identity as a coach or holistic practitioner. So I remember when I was first trying to figure out how to talk about what I did, I was trying to find the right words that inspired me and lit me up. And I'd be, I was just really trying to find how did I describe everything that I did in one sentence? And the thing is that that's impossible. So I just want you to know your "what do you do" statement is a conversation starter. It's the paradox is that it's extremely important. You've got to get a good one that actually is compelling and has people lean in and has them be like, wow, I need to talk to you, or I know somebody who needs to talk to you. And yet it's not the all encompassing, description of what you do. So, but I will say this, not everybody loves what we have to say about this. I just want you to hang in there with me today. Just be willing to stretch yourself, because we've coached thousands and thousands of coaches and holistic practitioners, and they've discovered that when they use our templates, that they become very effective at getting clients. And so this is about making this easier for you. Your actual work that you do with clients may not ever change, but the way you describe your work, it's a conversation starter. It's a gateway for them to walk through, if they're interested. So love to dive into this and talk about the mistakes.
Yeah, I love the way you're talking about it. It's like it's the start of a relationship rather than you're trying to close something right away. It's like there's a back and forth quality to it. Even just starting with the question, "What do you do?" That it assumes rather than you're going after somebody. You're entering into a deeper dialogue.
Right. Yeah. Well, there are, three common "what do you do" mistakes that keep your ideal clients from being interested. So I want to share them now, and you'll also discover the remedies. So I'm going to count backwards from 3 to 1, just for fun. So mistake number 3, and I find that probably 95% of the coaches and holistic practitioners who come to our event are starting with this mistake. It's sharing your title or process when you share what you do. So when I was getting started, I'd have to work up the courage, because I had all this insecurity and I felt so young that I would have to work up courage at a networking event to share what I did. So that would inevitably, somebody would inevitably say, "Well, what do you do?" And I would say, "Well, I'm a certified life coach and licensed acupuncturist." And I worked hard for those titles, And then there would usually be this awkward pause. And then they would say, "Awesome," and then change the subject. So this is what I mean by very boring "what do you do" statement. When you use your title, it's not very compelling. And that's one of the reasons why I had to have so many conversations to have that first $5,400 a month. Now, when you share your process, that can be confusing and even overwhelming for people. Now, I imagine that a lot of you are a little woo-woo like I am, right? And so we get really into our process of what we do and we get so excited about it. But the thing is that your potential clients haven't spent all that time and energy studying what you do and how you do it. So it can be confusing and overwhelming for them. Now, Jesse's always been an incredible coach, but in the early days, he really struggled to put his brilliance into words. So when people asked him what he did, he'd ramble and he'd say something, well, it's really hard to explain. I work with clients one-on-one where we dive deeply into your shadow and we like break through and really, I create breakthrough experiences to bust through limitations. And so you can become the person you're always meant to be and live your dreams. And he wouldn't stop until he noticed that his potential clients were, had that like glazed eye look going on. And that's honestly why he had to keep that, that 9-to-5 secure job, because people couldn't see how he could help them. Now, the thing is, most people don't care what your title is, and they don't care what your process entails. As a prime example, I'll give you an example here. Have you ever heard of colon hydrotherapy? So you don't hire a colon hydrotherapist for their title or their process. You hire them for the results that you can get, right? So remedy number one is don't talk about your title or your process. When you talk about what you do, share about the results that people can get. And this was one of those concepts that helped us go from a zero to $175,000 in our first year. So that's mistake number one. Mistake number two is being general or vague about the results you help people get. So after I shared that I was a coach and acupuncturist, I would usually say in a dramatic voice that my work was very transformational. And this was, unfortunately, using the word transformational is pretty vague, because unless your people have an idea of exactly what they want to transform, then why would they spend their hard-earned money? Why would they invest their hard-earned money to get that result? So in order for people to say yes to you, they have to come to the conclusion that the cost of not working with you is greater than the investment in working with you. So for example, our members who want to attend all of our events and have lifetime access invest up to $25,000. And if we were to say that we help you transform your business in a program, someone might be interested, but that probably wouldn't be enough to give them the confidence to invest at that level, right? Now, we have actually 340 people in our lifetime program, and it's because we set a very specific goal. So our goal is to help our members have their very first $10,000 month and then support them to repeat that over and over again. And this is how our members have earned a collective over $100 million. So if someone's a gifted coach or holistic practitioner who's making $2,000 per month, and they imagine what their life would be like if they were making $10,000, and they come to our events and talk with many of our members who have done that, it makes it a very easy yes. So we recommend that you share very specifically about the results that you help your clients get. Now, a big question that might be coming to you now is like, what if you don't help people make money, right? Well, it's all the more important that you share about the results than have those be specific. So don't just say that you help people reduce stress or remove blocks or overcome limiting beliefs. So in what area is my question? So some of our most successful 10,000 a month club members choose profitable niches that have nothing to do with helping their clients make money. So Cinder Ernst helps plus size women reduce knee pain. Mark Ryan supports people to overcome Hashimoto's. I'll talk about him in a moment. Christina Farkas helps single women find their soulmate. Dr. Amat Shah helps couples with infertility get pregnant naturally. And I have story after story after story of clients like that who are doing really well in their business but aren't helping people make money. So do you see how specific these results are? Mm-hmm. And then once they go ahead.
It's just a comment. One of the things that's great about that is that you were able to summarize what they do in like one sentence each, and you're like, oh, there's a little intrigue. It's like it was easy to convey in just one sentence, like boom.
Yeah, and later during the call, I'll actually share for a couple of those people. I will share their working, what do you do statement that they have right now, and I've got some really exciting new discoveries and things to share that I think will make such a big difference for all of you listening about how to share what you do. So it creates this instant credibility. I'm very excited. So We don't have time to get into it today, but it's also really important to be as specific about who you serve as well. You may have noticed that in those examples. When we helped everyone with everything, we were not nearly as effective as when we honed in on one specific group of people. And over 14 years ago, we decided that we were going to dedicate our lives and our work to helping coaches and holistic practitioners have their first $10,000 a month. Now, not only was this more attractive to our potential clients, now we've got 14 years of developing this system that makes it as easy as humanly possible to get that one result. So our clients have benefited greatly from our specificity. So that is mistake number 2. Now, mistake number 1 is not creating credibility when you share what you do. Now, if you don't share something that creates instant credibility, whenever you're meeting someone for the first time and you're sharing what you do, they are not likely going to see you as the go-to person to get that result. So even if they need what you have to offer, even if they have the problem that you say you solve. So remember, there are thousands of new coaches and holistic practitioners starting their businesses every month, and it's important that they see you as highly credible. So when you add positioning, and I'll talk about what positioning is if you don't know already, when you add positioning to your what do you do statement, it makes it so irresistible. Because every time you meet someone new, they're putting you into a category. You may not realize this. Like, people are judging you whether you like it or not. And I know we wish that we didn't live in a world where that was true, but it is. They're deciding, are you a potential friend, a potential client, a potential mentor, a potential date? So first impressions really are a big deal. And learning how to position yourself with intention is one of the most important secrets to connecting and getting instant credibility with everyone you meet. So it is possible to convey your expertise and establish your value without sounding arrogant. So when you think of positioning like this, if you say something impressive about yourself during the first few minutes of the conversation with a potential client, they will be a lot more likely to admire and respect you. However, if you don't share something impressive about yourself, or maybe you even do something that diminishes your credibility, they won't view you as a potential mentor or potential healer or practitioner coach, no matter how great you actually are. Now, you might be bristling at the thought of sharing something impressive about yourself, but really don't worry. We're going to show you how to position yourself without sounding arrogant. And the thing is that when you include something that positions you as an expert or as an authority, when you share what you do, it'll be a lot more likely that people's ears will perk up. They will take interest, they will notice, and they will want to learn more about what you do. So I'll give you an example here. When people used to ask us how do you, what do you do? I would say, we teach coaches and holistic practitioners how to attract more clients. So I just want you to imagine on a scale of 1 to 10, how much are you leaning in? I mean, you already know a lot about me, but just let's pretend we're just meeting for the first time. How much are you leaning in on a scale of 1 to 10? I invite you to write it down. And now I can say, we teach coaches and holistic practitioners how to have their first $10,000 a month, how to attract clients and have their first $10,000 a month. That probably would get me a better score on your lean-in scale, right? But we've changed it to this, and this is where we're adding the positioning, adding the credibility into the statement. My husband and I own the largest holistic business training school for coaches and holistic practitioners. We've been called the number 1 source for turning coaches and holistic practitioners into 6-figure transformational leaders. So I want you to notice what happens for you on a scale of 1 to 10. How much are you leaning in? At what level of credibility do I have? Do you see the difference there? So how did I arrive at creating that what do you do statement that intrigues people when I meet them? There's a step-by-step process that includes 4 major client attractors, and this is really the client attraction code, and this is really how to create, credibility and confidence and clarity with everyone you meet. And I'll tell you, one of the biggest mistakes that many coaches and holistic practitioners make that really keeps them from earning a great living and making the difference they want to make is they skip over this process and they go right to trying to figure out how to get their phone to ring. Now, if you don't go through the process of defining your own unique client attraction code, it just makes it really harder for clients to be happy to pay your full rate and want to work with you long term. So I'd love to dive into those 4 major client attractors of the client attraction code, because really you've got to have these in place before you name your business, before you build a website, before you do anything related to marketing. And yet once you do have all of these in place, it just makes it so much easier.
Love it. I'd go ahead and jump in. I'm learning myself. I love how systematized you've got this.
Nice. Yeah, that's the way to do it. Because, if we're going to work with folks on a large scale, we've got to be able to systematize our work, right? And so we've really like dialed this into a step-by-step process that so thrilled to walk you through. So this is the client attraction code, the 4 major client attractors that you must have in place before you do anything related to marketing. So number 1, major client attractor number 1 is to choose a profitable niche. Now, you may have heard of this, but for those of you who haven't, we define your niche as a group of people you help and the urgent problem you help them solve. A group of people you help and the urgent problem you help them solve. Now, it is still possible to get clients without a niche, but it makes it a lot harder. So of our hundreds of members who have made it into the 10,000 hour month club, only a few of them have done it without a niche. And I'll tell you, they worked a lot harder. But I'll give you some workarounds for this in a moment. Not having a profitable niche is like climbing up a steep mountain in the dead of winter. When it's like, think of like climbing Mount Everest. It's just like really hard work. However, when you have a profitable niche, it's like walking downhill in a warm Hawaiian breeze, right? So one of the most common ways to find your niche, working with a specific group of people who faced it, is to really look at facing a challenge. Like, who has faced a challenge that you've overcome in your life? Usually in one of these 4 areas: money, health, beauty, and relationships. So you might want to write that down. What challenge have I faced that I've overcome in the area of money, health, beauty, or relationships? Not and, or. So when Mark Ryan came to us, he was a struggling acupuncturist. And he was likely saying something like, I'm an acupuncturist and herbalist. When someone asked him what he did, he didn't have a niche. But he joined Thrive. And he's one of our 10,000 hour month club members. And he decided to choose the niche of supporting people to heal from Hashimoto's thyroiditis syndrome, because he had personally struggled with it and healed it himself. Now, while working with us, he started having $10,000, 10,000 hour months as a regular occurrence. He's used our formulas, to position himself as a leading expert in treating Hashimoto's, and all of his work is done over the phone now. Now, after helping hundreds of clients, he was actually approached by Hay House, and he wrote his second book, The Hashimoto's Healing Diet, which was recently published. Now, Mark gets to use his status as a Hay House author now, in addition to the hundreds of clients he's worked with. And a little bit later, I'm going to share an example of his "What do you do" statement, created based on the client attraction code. And by the way, he's not the only Thrive graduate who has become a Hay House author. What we're teaching here is like foundational to creating your thriving business. So this is, I'm not saying that the stuff that I'm teaching here is going to get you to the 10,000 hour months, but it's the foundation. You got to start here before you do anything else. I have another example here. Dr. Amatma Shah, she's a naturopathic doctor. And before coming to Thrive, she would say, I'm a naturopathic doctor. I help people clear up health issues. Now, she didn't have a niche, and she was struggling in her donation-based San Francisco Bay Area practice. She was earning about $20,000 a year. Now, while working with me and Jesse, Amatma decided to focus on infertility as her niche. And about 95% of the couples she talks with now become paying clients. And as a result of Thrive program, she went from making $20,000 per year, running her nonprofit basically, to making $20,000 a month, and loves her clients. And as a matter of fact, she really is super, super sweet, because of how successful her business is, she got pregnant and she got to take the full 3 months off from her practice to be with her baby. Her baby's now 6 months at the time of this recording. And so, that's really like having a profitable niche can make a really big difference. So that's major client attractor number 1. Now, major client attractor number 2 is creating a hot "what do you do" statement. Now, I will tell you that we have to start with the basic template. So in our process, you choose your niche, and then we take you through the "what do you do" statement, and you go through the basic templates first. And I will tell you that even if you use one of our most basic templates and you don't include the credibility and positioning in your "what do you do" statement, you'll still have a more compelling "what do you do" statement than like 95% of the other coaches and holistic practitioners that are out there, because the basic template revolves around your niche. One of these templates might be, I help blank group of people get blank results. Right? I help blank group of people get blank results. In some of the examples I gave you earlier, Christina Farkas, I help women find their soulmate. Something like that, right? Very simple, basic, but at least there's a niche in there, and at least people can identify the group of people you help and the problem you solve. So that's major client attractor number 2, which is your "what do you do" statement. And again, we start with the basic templates. Major client attractor number 3 is positioning. I've already mentioned it a lot. We actually teach 17 different categories of ways to position yourself. 6 of them are relevant for people who are just starting their business or who believe they have no credibility. So even if you don't think you've got something that gives you credibility, I promise you that if you went through our process, we call it position yourself like a rock star without sounding arrogant, we would find something unique about you that will have people be excited to work with you. And you can do it in a way that doesn't feel like bragging. So I'll give you some examples. So Yinghan Chang, she's a business coach. And Yinghan Chang came to us on a whim after a friend invited her to come to the Client Attraction Summit. And she was actually living in Singapore at the time. And she flew into the summit because she trusted this friend who recommended it. And she watched one of my videos. So she decided to attend. And she was working with just one corporate client when she came to us, but she wanted to shift her business so she had more flexibility. She could work anywhere in the world. And what she started talking about is that after running her business from San Francisco, the Middle East, Singapore, Hong Kong, Taiwan, and Canada, she now supports entrepreneurs who have hit a wall and struggle with feeling burnt out or unfulfilled. And so she teaches them how to build their you only live once lifestyle in business so they can have fun and freedom while making money and impacting lives. And so, she had like $40,000 in 3 months. She had her first $40,000 quarter she was excited about while living in a new country, and had all kinds of great stuff happen for her, including like being seen on 350 plus media outlets. And so, that's an example of using positioning. She used the positioning of running her business while living in all of these places to teach other people how to do the same thing. I've got another client, Lori Opal. She's a licensed marriage family therapist. And when Lori came to us, she has quite a story. So Lori's a single mother. She had recently recovered from cancer, and her marriage actually broke up while she was undergoing cancer treatment. Just really, really horrible. And she lives here in the San Francisco Bay Area, and her practice had dwindled so much that she was actually worrying about paying for groceries, let alone saving for college for her 2 girls. And during the Thrive programs, Lori learned how to position herself. And when she was talking with potential clients, now Lori still hasn't chosen a niche, but she had her first $10,000 a month within 2 months of joining Thrive. And she now has a multiple 6-figure practice working with trauma. And I have this great picture that if you're able to watch this, you'll see the slide of Lori with a bunch of other Thrive women in Paris. And a lot of them went on this trip with one of our members who's an image consultant. They went shopping and did all these beautiful rituals in the Mary Magdalene caves. And every single one of them in this picture is one of our esteemed $10,000 a month club members, except for one who had her first $9,000 a month soon after joining Thrive. So I love that story. Lori's able to position herself as an expert. She actually shares that, well, what she wasn't sharing before is that she's been training interns and overseeing interns for 20 years. And so once she started sharing that just made all the difference in the way that people listen to her. I've also got another example here, Jackie Simpson. She's an energy healer. She was doing just 2 sessions per week, and she was starting to dip into the family funds to keep her practice going. When she heard about, she actually heard me speak on a call kind of like this one, and she said later that she tapped into my energy, she told me, and she found me to be filled with integrity. So she knew she had found a mentor. And she consulted her spirit guides. They give her the green light to work with us. And within her first month of using our templates, she made over $23,000. And when we asked her to write her success story about that month, 3 weeks later, she had added another $16,000 to her success. Now, Jackie's another one who hasn't chosen a niche, but she knows how to position herself with her potential clients, and people pay attention and want to work with her. So I want to share, her before what do you do statement was, I'm an energy healer. I do energy healings. I teach energy healing workshops, and I lead retreats. Now, her what do you do statement is, I've been a spiritual guide and energy healer for over 20 years, and I've led more than 500 workshops and retreats, including being an instructor at UNLV. Now, I support women who are feeling emotionally disconnected and spiritually confused to find peace and clarity. And I use a combination of healing modalities aided by my spirit guides so my clients feel joyous in their careers, relationships, and health. So you can see how, even though she hasn't chosen a niche, she's kind of all over the place with the work that she does, she still is doing really, really well and has a multiple 6-figure practice as an energy healer. So that's major client attractor number 3, which is positioning. And you can start to see why this is so important. Our last major client attractor is hero's journey story, number 4. So this is the story of how you came to do what you do. So stories connect deeply with our souls, right? So it's essential that you have a compelling story that shares why you care so much. And there's a very specific formula for how you share your story. It's the same formula that Hollywood uses to write movies that have us entranced, and we can't we can't not finish the movie, because human beings are wired to connect deeply with story. So it's essential you understand this formula so you can share your hero's journey story with your potential clients, as well as if you're speaking to a group live or on a webinar, however it is. And then as you're unlocking your own unique client attraction code, you'll discover and write your own hero's journey story. And you can even use a very short segment of your hero's journey story in your what do you do statement. In your new, compelling, exciting what do you do statement, it uses these major client attractors so people know in an instant they might want to consider working with you. So I have another case study here for you. This is Melissa Seaman, and her before Thrive what do you do statement was, I'm a shamanic facilitator. Now, prior to working with Jesse and I, Melissa had just lost her entire savings and business property in an economic collapse related foreclosure. And she was making about $2,000 a month on the side in her shamanic healing practice, but that wasn't enough to support her and her kids living in San Diego. And the money stress, like her health was deteriorating, and she was really feeling hopeless, and she even lost her marriage in the midst of that. And so she worked with us, and soon after had her first $10,000 month, and has gone on to have a multiple six-figure practice. She works with really high-level executives, and I'll share with you her new "What do you do" statement. And this is how she's using a little segment of her hero's journey story to include this in her "What do you do" statement. So, I'm a former Stanford-educated business attorney who accidentally turned psychic while giving birth to my daughter in the year 2000. Now I bridge the worlds as an intuitive business strategist. So Silicon Valley creative tech company founders, Fortune 500 executives, and visionary entrepreneurs hire me to put words to their most unique and transformative gifts so they can both make sense and make more money. And so you can see how Melissa has incorporated just that piece. Like, how intriguing is it when she says, I'm a former Stanford educated business attorney who accidentally turned psychic while giving birth to her daughter. That's a little piece of her hero's journey story that she's put into her story. You can also get the positioning of being the Stanford educated business attorney. So then the next question becomes, once we have all these four major client attractors, how do we put them all together so you attract your ideal clients and make it easy for them to say yes? And one of the things I love most about the client attraction code is that when you put all or even some of these four major client attractors together, you create a truly unique what do you do statement. It gives you instant credibility. It gives you confidence when you share what you do, because people lean in, people get clarity on who you help and how you help them. And it just makes it so much easier for people to say yes. And it helps, you can feel a lot more confident about charging the rates that you want to charge. But the problem is that it's really difficult to try to just slap this all together without first going through the step-by-step process of discovering your own unique client attraction code. Because any of one of these templates that we walk you through can unlock a piece of your unique code that you might not think about on your own. I have a few more case studies. I'd love to actually share Mark Ryan's new "What do you do" statement. I already shared a little bit about him. He's the one who helps people heal Hashimoto's. And his new "What do you do" statement, when he's using these pieces of the code, is this: I'm the author of the Hay House book, The Hashimoto's Healing Diet. For the past 6 years, I've helped hundreds of people turn around autoimmune issues without medication. So short and sweet, gives him credibility, talks about what he does. People clearly get who he is. Dr. Amatma Shah, I talked about her earlier as well. Now, her new "What do you do" statement is this. So I'm the founder of the Holistic Fertility Center, where we support couples who are struggling with infertility and even miscarriages to conceive naturally. I've had a 60% average success rate, even with the most difficult cases. And I've got story after story of couples who were able to get pregnant after clearing up health concerns such as hormonal imbalances or nutritional deficiencies and even genetic abnormalities. I love her story. Abiola Oladoke. So Abiola Doke, Dr. Abiola Doke, she's a clinical practitioner. She's what we call a DLOS that does lots of stuff. She's like an osteopath, and she does sleep neuroscience. She does all this brain retraining, nutrition, supplements, hyperbaric chamber. I mean, you name it. She's got gadgets in her office, and Jesse and I both worked with her personally. So when she shares what she does, somebody says, she introduces herself. She says, I'm Dr. Abiola Oladoke. And after my own healing from tumors and severe brain and body inflammation, I've spent the last 2 decades helping others. I work with entrepreneurs and business owners who find themselves working so hard it takes a toll on their health. They suffer from stress, fatigue, and low productivity that prevents them from earning the income they deserve. And I help them unlock, activate, and optimize their brain for success. So that's, you can kind of see what kind of powerful and compelling, irresistible, what do you do statement you're going to get
Yeah.
when you combine all four pieces of the client attraction code.
I love it. It's sort of I'm getting this image of like the what do you do makeover. It's like the show of like the before and after.
Right.
No, I mean it's very compelling, and I love the way it's they're not long statements, but they carry so much. You're weaving in the hero's journey and the unique added credibility, and they're very authentic and genuine. So really got my wheels churning too about like, oh, how do I maybe I need to do some of this to share how I'm doing it differently. It's really very intriguing. Well, I know we could go much deeper into this. We have a little bit more that we promised that we would cover today, and I want to make sure we get to that about these different the stages that people go through in implementing this kind of work to really build a thriving practice like you're talking about.
Yeah, thank you, Stephen. Yeah, I mean, I imagine, those of you listening, you're excited about creating what do you do statement that shares your unique greatness, separates you out from all the other coaches and holistic practitioners, all that noise, allows you to get a lot more clients easily. And we have a course that we actually walk you through that stage that we'll be talking about in a little bit. It's really like step by step to help you create your unique client attraction code. Before we share about it, I want to share about these 7 critical stages to creating a thriving business as a coach or holistic practitioner. And I'll give you a hint. The client attraction code is actually just like stage 3. So I want to go through this briefly so you get clear on which stage you're at. Because one of the biggest reasons that many coaches and holistic practitioners fail is that they try to skip over the stages. They try to do them out of order. So if you try to jump right to getting your phone to ring, which is what a lot of coaches and holistic practitioners do, without first using the client attraction code and creating your unique what do you do statement, it's likely you're going to have a lot of clients and maybe only get, a lot of conversations, and likely only get a smattering of clients. And you won't likely be able to charge a respectable rate for what you do. It'll be difficult to have people see the value of working with you. So let's go through these stages, right? So stage 1 is to create your inspiring vision. Before you do anything, it's important to have a crystal clear vision of what you want your business to look like, especially right now we're at the beginning of 2019. So, at the end of the year, right? How many clients do you want? What's going to light you up about your work? What will make it so fulfilling? How much money do you want to earn? And how do you do this in a way that has the biggest beautiful impact on your own life, so it's fulfilling, impact on your clients, and impact on your bank account, right? So that's stage number 1. Stage number 2 is to transform sabotaging beliefs. Once you have a big, exciting vision, you're going to find the inner voice saying, who are you to do this? Or what about the last time you failed? Or you're not good enough? Or you're not ready? Now, you can counteract those voices by affirming that you're ready and that you're more than good enough and, to get paid really well. But at some point, it's going to take some deeper work to transform these beliefs and exponentially increase your income and your impact. So I want to invite you to commit to doing this deeper work, this deeper transformational work to clear a way for a powerful upcoming year. And then stage 3 is the client attraction code, like we've been talking about. Until you nail your unique client attraction code, where you have your niche, you have your what do you do statement, you have your positioning story, your positioning, your hero's journey story, and you're able to put those all together in your unique what do you do statement. It's so hard to do anything that follows. You can't really build a website that's going to get you clients. People will be likely to click away, or they'll be likely to change the subject if you're meeting someone in person. So we really recommend you go through the client attraction code process deeply so you can talk about what you do with confidence, gain that instant credibility, give your client, potential clients clarity as to what you have to offer, and get lots more yeses, because it's a lot easier to talk with potential clients when they know how great you are and they really recognize your greatness. Now, stage 4 is client attraction and the 5 elements of heart selling. So we've got the client attraction code, which is like the communication part of attracting clients. It's the way that when you share what you do, people get it. It's the way you start to communicate, how you write about what you offer, the things you talk about. And yet then the next thing is like, where do you find your people, right? And that is another part of that client attraction piece, is that where do you find your people? How do you get your phone ringing, quote unquote phone ringing? Nowadays, it might be getting a text or an email or a private message, but how do you get people contacting you, reaching out to you? And then there's also the 5 elements of heart selling. And if your client isn't leaning into the conversation, they're not going to care what you do, right? But how do you get them to lean in and be interested? This is our signature system called the 5 elements of heart selling. Curiosity is one of these 5 elements, because when you're curious about your ideal clients, they naturally become curious about you. And there are 4 other elements to help you and inspire your potential clients to say yes. If we have more time, I'd love to share that with you. But again, we can talk about that at another time. Then we get to stage 5. So you're in the conversation and they ask, how much do you charge? So stage 5 is sharing your rates with confidence. If you don't feel confident with your rates, you'll either have to charge a lot less, or your potential clients will feel your insecurity and be turned off. So it's really critical that you get confident sharing your rates. And then when you share your rates, you might have some people who have a concern about how much it costs. And so stage 6 is learning how to transform concerns. Again, we don't overcome objections here at Thrive. We transform concerns. The language just feels better to my heart and my nervous system. And I don't feel like I'm doing something weird to somebody. I'm just like empowering someone, So many people, no matter what their actual money situation is, have money concerns when you share your rates. So when you master client attraction, you will know that I can't afford it is not the end of a conversation. It's actually the beginning of a new conversation that can be incredibly inspiring and healing and empowering. And you can have this in a graceful and non-pushy way. So mastering this skill can easily have, half of your I can't afford it's turned into a yes. But the good news is that once you get your client attraction code, people will just see the value immediately. So you have a lot less of this concern. And then stage 7, and once you get all of this going, it's time to get leverage, whether it's leverage in your marketing or leverage in the way you deliver your service. Because I know some of you are transformational leaders, you want to be doing groups. So we've got to get leverage in how you do your work, doing work with groups, workshops, live events, speaking, writing a book, home study courses. However, if you're a one-on-one connector, like I described, you want to just do that deep, intimate one-on-one work, you still need to get leverage in your marketing. So, mastering the skill of getting clients one-on-one, it's essential for everyone, because you'll be able to consistently bring in thousands of more dollars each month, but there's a limited, number of the people you can see one-on-one. So if you're a hands-on body worker, healer, coach, we recommend you look at getting paid for the value you provide and not just the time. And I will tell you that if you're going to be doing leverage marketing, speaking to groups and leading workshops, it's those are some of the fastest ways to get clients, even if you want to stick with a one-on-one. And we actually have a lot of clients who still, their primary work is one-on-one, but it's very high end, and they're doing leverage marketing. So they have a big following and they still do, private one-on-one work. They kind of combine both worlds. So all of these are great ways that you can work fewer hours, have more impact, earn more money, and really feel like you're making the difference that you came here to make.
Wow. Well, Sharla, it's, we haven't spent that much time together, but I'm just really blown away by the level of synthesis and precision. And it also speaks to what you spoke about earlier, is finding your right niche and really aligning. So you've got all this wisdom that's been developed from how to exactly speak to right where the developmental process that everybody has to go through to talk about what they do in a way that really gets to results. And I just love when I think about it, think about all these, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people who have these really important parts of the shift that is new perspectives on healing and energy science and evolving medicine. And it's and every single one who's stepping outside of a conventional box has to figure this stuff out, because it's you have to make it relatable to people. You have to see why it's so valuable, why they can benefit. And I think that something you mentioned a couple times that I just want to highlight is the key part of it. People can refer other people. They might not be the right person, but they're oh, I know somebody that needs your services, because then all the people you talk to are also helping to do your outreach for you. So really great stuff. And I want to now talk about your upcoming program with us. And first of all, that we're super excited to do this. I feel like we haven't had a really good entry program for people who have serious transformational skills and are building practices, but don't really have the business foundations in place. And you two have really focused so beautifully on how to do that in a way that has heart and soul and integrity to it, that really gets results. So the program that Sharla's going to be co-leading with her husband Jesse is called the Client Attraction Code: How to Share About Your Work with Confidence, Clarity, and Credibility. And you can find the program laid out in a lot of detail at clientattractioncodecourse.com, clientattractioncodecourse.com. It's all pretty easy to spell, so just type it into your browser. And so this is actually the lowest investment entry point into their work I think that they may have ever offered in a virtual context, at least, because it's for 7 weeks you're going to get the distillate of a lot of this wisdom, the key building blocks and ingredients to be able to have that makeover from your current what do you do statement to talking about what you really do in a way that gets people excited and electric and engaged. So I'd love for you, Sharla, to share about what you're going to be delivering in the Client Attraction Code, and then give us a little tour of the modules.
Yeah, you bet. And I was laughing when you were sharing about this is the lowest entry point ever into our work. I'm a little surprised. I just really wanted to get this out. I'm super excited about this concept of putting, all these 4 client attractors together and creating a what do you do statement that really draws people to you. And we want to get out to as many people as possible. So we're super excited to be here as part of the Shift Network faculty and sharing this. And you're right, this is a smoke and deal. So, and I did promise, by the way, that I'll share that most prevalent pattern that I've noticed amongst our 10,000 a month club members. So hang in there for that. Before I do, for those of you listening, I'm curious, what would your life be like if you felt a high level of confidence when you shared what you do? Because people leaned in and they said, I need to work with you, or I know somebody who needs to work with you. And imagine how easy it would be to talk to people who are hungry to hear more and we're interested in hiring you. And it's really why we created this course. This powerful course is going to teach you how to see and express your greatness. So people respect you, they want to work with you. And this is even if you're just starting out and you don't think you have much credibility. And this is even if you don't have your niche yet. That's what we want to help you get, because a lot of you are really out there talking about your modality and the things that you do and really talking about process, but it's not, likely not been very effective until now. So we want to turn that around for you so that people are really hungry for what you have to offer. So if you have been struggling to get enough clients, this could be the biggest missing piece of the puzzle. And you'll be surprised when we discover that hidden gold mine of credibility that will have you stand out without feeling like you're bragging. So I'm excited to share about the course. And I will say that the content from this course comes from a program that we've taught to over 1,000 coaches and holistic practitioners. Collectively, they've earned over $100 million, and discovering their unique client attraction code is a big part of it. Now, that course is people have paid $8,000 for that course. And so this is a big chunk of the course, and it's one of the main things people sign up for it. So I'll just say that, if you're feeling called to step up into this next level in your business and your life, I want to invite you to consider joining us for what could be a big turning point in your business, where you could look back and remember saying yes to yourself was just one of the best decisions that you've made. And by the way, I always like to say, if you're clear this invitation isn't for you, you're welcome to jump off now. I hope you got lots out of our time together today. But I really imagine that you're here today because you love the work you do with clients, and whether you're a one-on-one connector or, you want that practice filled with clients you love, or you're a transformation leader, you want to inspire a lot of people with your message, you want to make a big difference. This is for you. This course is for you if you're a coach, a healer, a holistic practitioner who loves the work you do. You just haven't figured out how to communicate your value so people get it and they want to work with you. Now, this isn't for you if people are already very impressed when you share what you do, and they tell you all the time that people need to work with you and you've got a waiting list of clients. Obviously, you probably wouldn't have hung in here that long. So this is really a one-of-a-kind training. Some of the things that you're going to get in this course, we're going to teach you how to nail your niche so you attract people who are actively looking for what you have to offer. You're going to get secrets for sharing what you do to help you gain instant trust and credibility and desire. We actually have 8 different ways to measure your what do you do statement. Like we have a hot to not scale. So, to make it hotter. So we'll tell you 8 different ways to make it hotter. How to share your story. We're going to give you that formula we talked about, that Hollywood Hero's Journey story formula about why you love your work, how to get people to lean in and get an intuitive hit that they need to work with you. I'm going to share the most effective credibility builders. Those, I told you there were 17 different categories of ways to position yourself that have you stand out from anyone else who does work that's similar. So you only need one. So we go through that whole list. And this is the thing, is a lot of times people think, okay, well, I can just pick something. But until you go through that whole list, you may be missing the top credibility builder. And I'll tell you, there's this phenomenon that we found. People go, Well, that doesn't count because. And when you see this list, you'll be like, oh, I could say that. You would be really, really surprised. And again, if you're just starting out or you don't think you have anything to share that makes you credible, 6 of those categories are for people who are just starting out. You'll discover through this process how to create your unique, aligned, and irresistible what do you do statement, how to put specificity, urgency, and credibility all together into a what do you do statement that has clients want to work with you and sets the foundation for everything you want to do, attract clients in your business. And then, we will talk about how to attract your ideal clients once you've got this client attraction code working for you. And I went through the 7 most critical stages to attract clients without struggle. I went through them very briefly today, but we'll go into them in a lot more depth during the course. So, again, a lot of coaches and holistic practitioners try to jump right to trying to find their clients without really creating a compelling what do you do statement. And then they struggle and they get so frustrated because it's really difficult to attract enough clients when you skip this step. And then others create one that's like ineffective and might actually be repelling clients because it's focused on the modality versus the needs and desires of the potential client. Yet when you follow this step-by-step system, you'll create that irresistible what do you do statement using the client attraction code, and potential clients will be leaning in and wanting to work with you.
Fantastic. Well, I think it's just so clear. There's so much deep truth and refined wisdom in what you're sharing, and just it makes it fun too. It's like I love all the different specific examples you gave, because it really brings it alive of like how big a difference it makes, not only in just how somebody shows up and the level of interest of leaning in, but in the end result of the kind of extraordinary base of clients and business that people are building with your work. So I'll share a little bit on the high level about the program. Again, you can find all the detail about about the program at clientattractioncodecourse.com, clientattractioncodecourse.com. So you get not only the 7 90-minute live classes with Sharla that includes some interactive Q&A time so you can get your specific questions addressed. This is on video. You will get recordings of every class session plus audio recordings, video and audio, as well as full transcripts as well. So that allows you to really take in all the wisdom that she's going to be sharing and really apply it over the long haul, since you can access it at any time. It's also going to be some weekly exercises and practices you can do at home. This is really an experiential journey. You're not just learning content, you're really applying it in your own business and your own practice. And then there's an online learning community, which you will get to engage others and build community, which is also a great way to start to build networks of allies and trust who can help to co-promote things if you start to move into an online environment as well. So the course is going to begin on January 24th. It's going to run on Thursdays at 9 a.m. Pacific time. Even if you can't make the live time, you can still get the full value from the recordings and also participate in the live community as well. There's also some great bonuses. Sharla's been really rolled out the red carpet with bonuses on this. So we've got the Get Clients free consultation formula. This is valued at $500 by itself. There's a video teaching with PDF template from Thrive Academy. Sharla, you want to share anything more about that consultation formula?
Yeah, the Get Clients free consultation formula. This is once you get your what do you do statement, you're going to be talking with people who are interested in working with you. And this is like the #1 strategy to have people say yes to working with you. I mean, people are going to say yes to you in a consultation. They're going to say yes on a webinar, a teleseminar, or at a speaking gig or live event. Those are really the only 3 ways that coaches and holistic practitioners get that yes, that moment when somebody says, yes, I want to work with you. And so this Get Clients free consultation formula is so powerful. This is a proven formula that we've been teaching for many, many years. And I'll tell you that this is one of the biggest reasons why so many of our clients are so successful. So I want you to have it. And it's an in-depth, training that you'll get with the PDF, and you'll be able to use that right away.
More than worth the investment right there. Number of extra bonuses, you see them on the page, the clientattractioncodecourse.com. There's a how to get bigger players to promote you. So this is kind of working your way up through affiliates and then building relationships. There's how to turn I can't afford it into a fully aligned yes. That's really the most common thing that people run into is the money issue. And Sharla and Thrive have really created this powerful video teaching for how to transform that situation. That's also valued at $300. And there's an extra bonus here too I want to bring attention to. This is actually a private strategy session with one of their trained people for the first 50 people to sign up for this program. Sharla, you want to share a little bit about that?
Sure. We have this Attract Clients Now strategy session that we offer on occasion, and it's a 45-minute private session where the intention is that you discover exactly what's in your way when it comes to attracting more clients. So what we do is we go through this little process of you take a little assessment, and your coach is going to ask you some questions, and they're going to really be able to diagnose exactly what's in your way. Why are clients not coming to you in droves? And then they will give you several powerful recommendations to remove some of your biggest obstacles. These are not like a big, sales call. If it is a good match, there would be an opportunity to move forward with something else, if that makes sense. However, our commitment is that you walk away from these calls with great value. And so you might walk away with where the best places for you to find your potential clients, or how do you feel more confident when enrolling clients, or what's your best model for turning potential clients into paying clients, So these are customized private sessions that are really designed to support you on your exact next steps.
Fantastic. And there's also, I almost forgot to mention, there's another special bonus that's available just today until midnight. And that is called How to Build a Simple Website That Gets You Clients on a Shoestring Budget. It's another $500 value bonus from Thrive Academy. It's available when you sign up by midnight tonight. We like to do this as a way to encourage you to go to the page at client attraction code course.com and really tune in. And it's to your advantage to make a decision now while it's fresh, while you're in the moment, while you really have the most information. And so we give you an extra incentive to go to the page now and make your decision before the end of the day. And you get the extra $500 bonus of how to build a simple website that gets you clients. So it's kind of crazy that we've brought all of this value together, and we're offering it just for only 3 payments of $109 or 1 payment of $297. Like, this is a super high value program that can have a huge return on your investment, and so just making it a very easy yes for you to go to the page, tune in, and if you get a yes, then you can go for it, and you're going to get a lot of value for years to come. And also just to really orient yourself to a whole different relationship with the sharing of your work, the sharing of your business, sharing of who you are in a way that owns your value, and that really allows other people to feel and find that value as well, and see it and invest in it. So Sharla, and what a great program you've created. I'm almost a little embarrassed that we're only putting this up for $297, but I know you're really wanting to reach a lot of people because this is just such high value content, and really such a great gift from your hearts to those who have important work that the world needs.
Thank you, Stephen. Thank you. It's an honor and a blessing to do this work. I really, truly believe that the more coaches and holistic practitioners, more you're out there working with clients, the more this world gets the transformation it needs. Those people get their lives transformed, and that touches everybody else in their life. It's so important. Your work really matters. Your voice matters, and people need what you have to offer. So we want you to be able to reach them. And it's really this commitment that is driving us to be able to give this smoke a deal. Jesse and I were talking about this the other day, and we said, after this course is over, we're going to be offering something similar for around $1,000. So, if you're getting that intuitive yes, I really want to invite you to say yes to yourself, to invest in yourself at this level. And I promise you won't be sorry. I promise we're going to have a great time together, and you're going to get great value. Even if you just use the niche and what do you do template and don't even do the rest of the course, it's still going to be a huge turning point for you. One thing I promised, Stephen, that I would talk about is that I'd share that prevalent pattern that I've noticed amongst our 10,000 Hour Month Club members. And this is, interviewing them, hours and hours and hours, spending time talking with our most successful members. What happened? How did it happen? And you may be familiar with Carol S. Dweck's work, the fixed mindset versus growth mindset, right? The fixed mindset is about avoiding challenges. It's about giving up easily. It's about taking failure as a sign that you should step away. The growth mindset, on the other hand, is about seeing effort as a path to mastery. It's about making those no matter what decisions, and about being resourceful so you can move toward your vision, and seeing failure as an opportunity for growth and learning. And so one question I have for those of you listening is, which of these are you going to cultivate? Because I've noticed that our most successful members, those are clients that have gotten to the 10,000 Hour Month Club, they have a growth mindset. I mean, we all, even to this day, Jesse and I still have failures. And Stephen, I'm sure in your business, you're serving a lot of people. Mistakes happen, failures happen, but your relationship to those failures is what's going to determine your level of success. So I want to invite you to cultivate that growth mindset. And whether you decide to move forward with us or you move forward with someone else, the most important thing is that you make that commitment to invest in yourself and to stay committed to your heart and your vision and to do this work that you're meant to do in this world.
Beautiful. Well, again, the URL to go ahead and get signed up today. And remember, if you get one of the first 50 people, you also get the private strategy session with one of their trained practitioners as well. And you can find all the details again at clientattractioncodecourse.com. And we highly recommend this program. And you're going to be in for a real up-leveling when you make this commitment. So thank you, Sharla. Thank you all for joining. And thank you all who've come here today for the work that you have really birthed to get to the point where you're saying, oh, you have gifts that you want to share, that you want to reach more people, that you want to really serve your perfect audience. And thank you for all that has gone into birthing that work that you are here to bring to the world. And so we just hope that today's been as illuminating for you as it has been for me to help understand how to do that even more effectively and more heartfully and more authentically in a way that really leads you to attract the clients that you're here to serve. So thank you all, and look forward to seeing many of you in the upcoming program.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.